Rachael Blackmore. Would you give her one, lads, if you were able? A vote for the World Sports.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lads, stop. Hey, Mickey, hey, stop now, Joe. I don't think we're able though this side, are we? I think it's only the UK. So if any of the followers are watching in the UK, make sure and vote for Rachael Blackmore for the World's is a sports star of the year with the BBC. She's actually the only person that could land a knockout blow to Canelo Alvarez this year. How's things, lads?
Not a bother, Paddy, thanks.
Mickey D, how's all in the windy west? You've been bashed with bad weather down there, have you?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I'll tell you what's worse is the roadworks in December. It was putting on 80 kilometres per day there a few days on my journey in the afternoon and about next to 3/4 of an hour. Potholes and detours and fucking red lights and green lights and all in rural Ireland, so we're not used to that, like, you know.
No. I do you know what though? I think today has been the nicest day in a long time. Sun is shining. Can we find any winners? We've been running hot the last couple of weeks. Let's take a quick look back, Joe Value, at Cheltenham. You landing your big touch on Diesel Dallier. Quick word on Cheltenham, lads. Anything stands out for you? I'm sure it was your big plunge, the 4 points win at 6-1.
Yeah, it was the highlight, but I can't help feel a little bit sick that Broomfield Borg didn't win the same day. I would have, I had him for a 4-pointer as well, and I had a 2-point each way double. It would have been something to be shouting about. But I just thought that cross-country race was fantastic. Watch, even if you never had a bet in it, 2 horses just trying their absolute bollocks off. And, people is gas, like people say, you'd hear these anti-blood sports people, and they're saying, oh, the horses, they're meant to run and all this kind of crack. Them horses love it, like absolutely love it, and that's what they like doing. If they didn't want to do it, you know as well as anyone, Paddy, if a horse didn't want to jump something or run somewhere, he'd just point blank refuse, and that'd be it.
No, they really look to be enjoying it. Just a quick word, Joe, on your other selection. What was it called again?
Yeah, Bloomfield Borg. Yeah, some lads were saying, maybe he dogged it a bit. He didn't go by, which is fair enough. That everyone has their opinion, and it could be right. I just thought, like, the winner is a good horse, lovely citizen around Cheltenham. He's some very good form in them type braces. This was Bloomfield Borg's first real handicap as such, where he had to go and battle, and he had to try and give the winner £25 as well. He did pull clear of the third horse, which is a nice enough horse for Gary Moore, and I wouldn't be giving up on Bluefield Borg just yet.
Yeah, well, just Mickey, I don't know if you've seen him, but I thought to myself, the minute I watched the race, after it, everyone was kind of calling him not calling them names, but saying he threw it away and things like that. I actually thought he ran a blinder. And now, I'll tell you my initial reaction when the race was over, when he crossed the line. Look, obviously Nico de Bonville was kind on him too. He wasn't too hard on him when he was bet. He accepted it. And the first thing that came to my head, I thought he travelled well. I thought he travelled too keen. I thought he jumped. He did a few things wrong throughout the race, little stupid things. Maybe he got tightened up here and there. He jumped a bit long and quick. But the first thing that came to my mind, the set of blinkers in the county hurdle, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And I think he would be a real player if he was anchored out the back in the county hurdle off the kind of marks he'll be off. And maybe
a friend of mine said the exact same thing. Blinkers is what that horse wants. And I says, I don't know, I'd like to see him again. But you probably could be right. He's a horseman as well. He rode horses before.
I definitely think so. Mickey, what did you think of him, Mickey?
I thought a red hot poker up his hole might answer the question.
Unfortunately,
that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Allow that in the home stretch.
But you asked me.
They're allowing a lot to go on in racing lately.
You asked me what was the first thing that came to my mind, and that's what came to my mind.
Can I ask you to use a question? So, if he was kind of upsides going to the last, or maybe a neck behind, if he'd have pinged it and got level, do you think he would have won? Because what happened was he kind of lost momentum. The winner pinged it, and he ended up a length behind instead of level.
No, well, I'll tell you, Joe. No, I'll tell you where it went wrong from. it went wrong from kind of throughout the race, a little keen and a little thing. And I think that's why his finishing effort maybe was 10. I think if he winged the last, he still had to give a monster weight to a horse that galloped up the hill. Maybe it'd have been closer. Now, however, no, you can't make a case that he would have. Maybe if it went perfect the first 3 quarters of the race, yes, he would have. That's what I think. But I think there's a lot to learn with the horse yet for the horse to learn his mental.
He's loads of potential, I think.
He's loads of. You don't travel that good everywhere in a race under a big weight and only get run over. Yes, again, the Cheltenham Hill is these kind of horses always. But I promise you, in a strongly ranked county hurdle, he'd be doing a handstand down to the last on the bridle. Off that kind of a mark. You just look
Paul
at
Carberry retirement, right?
Not only that, like no disrespect to Nico de Bonville, but he never really tried to win it either after the last. And I'm not being smart there, but he finessed the horse. He saved him for another day, and the horse will progress from that run. But when you land over the back of the last in Cheltenham, lift the plant and let him on. Like, for fuck's sake, he was finesse. He was looking over at the other jockey. He kind of accepted.
I think he thought he was going to get him for the first half of the home stretch. For the first part of the hill, I thought he thought he was going to get him, and then all of a sudden, shit, I'm not going to get him. So he just
never wait in front upsides at the last in Cheltenham. You're better off being 3 lengths behind if you're going to be waiting. Do not wait upsides in front. Your horse looks at the crowd, the hill, and they'll idle straight away, and that's what causes a lot of horses to miss the last. And then have an uphill battle. If you're on the bridle coming to the last in Cheltenham, do not be near the front. Be 2 lengths behind, knowing that you're going to get them. Because when you're in front, you're a sitting duck. If you sit on any horse in a stiff track, you're a sitting duck if you sit in front. Anyway, anything else to chat about? Mickey, take us through another race.
Yeah, you're too good men for giving excuses for losing horses. So what excuses have you for Shack and Poursoir?
Sure. Now, if you think that's his true run and anyone else does, they shouldn't even follow horse racing. Do you think that Shack and Poursoir hadn't got a problem, or that was as good as he is? Like, come on.
He's done it twice in England. You
don't have to be a fucking rocket science to realize something went wrong with the horse.
I'm not a rocket
well,
science.
What happened to your machine Nuba Negra the same day? Yeah. What was his excuse?
Runs well, fresh, and he'll be back in Cheltenham. I'll back him again next May.
Do you know what? You won't have to go to a bookie. How much you want on? I'll take it.
I want him Shack and Poursoir to run against anyway. So they won't bring him over now, will they?
No, hardly. But they have an Ergamine, and he's the one. I think Shackham will stay in Ireland. Quick word on anything else then. Go through the other little races. What about Charles Burns' horse then, Blazing Cal, again winning very well after making a bad mistake at the second last. By the way, lads, this is episode 2 of the Wheelbarrow Podcast.
Yeah, he's a great staying horse, isn't he? Like, he's loads of bottomless stamina, he seems to have anyway. Even when Galway, when he beat one of Gordon Elliott's hot pots, first time over hurdles, first win he had got over hurdles, you could see that he was just full of stamina. And it'll take a good one to beat him in Cheltenham, I think. But I'd say, we haven't really seen the real top staying novice hurdlers yet. So he's one to beat as things stand. But, Willie'll have something there lurking for sure, and as will other people. So, I would be selling out at the prices. Yeah.
He needs to brush up on his jumping, though.
Yeah,
He's very inexperienced, very novice yet. Like, so he'd win no Albert Bartlett's the way he jumped the last day. He
jumped well the last day. Only the bad mistake. His jumping was much better everywhere. It was much better.
Yeah, it was much better.
Only the mistake.
It only takes one of them mistakes in Cheltenham, though, to knock you out of your position, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose.
But no more than the reports Irish get going to school bus do better.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Hollow Games is the horse I really like for that race. I thought he looks classy as well as a horse that potentially stays very strong. Looked good at the 2 mile 6 the last day. He showed an attribute of class, I thought, that went very slow in Navan, but quickened up well. Look, it's an interesting. Yeah, there's a lot to come.
With the winter being so dry and that they're very late coming out this year. Like, we're in the middle of December now and we haven't seen that many yet.
Absolutely.
Hey, tell me this, Mickey. I seen Love's Only You. What a mare the other night. Oh my God, she's tough as fucking teeth in Hong Kong.
She has hair, doesn't she?
Oh my God.
has-
She looked beat for a minute and then she just fucking, she fought, she grit her teeth and she put them away.
She knows how to win, and that's an awful, it's an awful important attribute in a horse, like, to know how to win, like, that, and she has that.
She's been lucky for you.
Youngsters. She's a good mare. I've been following her a while, like, and a mile 2 is too short for her, really, if it was a mile 3 or a mile 4. Like, she'd have won the other race. The horse that won the other race, Glory Vaz, was only second to her last April in Cheltenham, like, so I'm looking forward to seeing her going in the if she goes in the Shima Classic in Dubai, Medan in March.
Yeah.
That's big money. So that's on World Cup Day.
Well,
so I said that could be
or
the
10
target.
million, is it?
Yeah, but there's a big race in that too. They're all big pots. But
Yeah.
there's a few good horses going. I love that meeting. I love Medan in February and March. It'll be starting in January, but every Thursday.
Have you your vaccine
Medan.
got?
I have.
Why? Because we might
Have
send
you?
you out there to cover it. Get me out there.
I could have a place to stay, no bother. I've connections there, no bother. But
Well,
the Sheik.
There you go. You could be
You've
out
heard the
there.
lads are covering at the minute.
You'll be out there digging out a couple of winners. Tell me this, moving forward, lads. Any have a real look at the King George? It looks like I think Nichols' horse is back to defend his crown. I think he's 11-4 at the head of the betting. And I was interested in did you think, or did you have you good vibes for the Bromhead horse if he goes over or not? I think he's second favourite. The horse that was second in the Gold Cup, or that won the Gold Cup. Sorry, the horse that won the Gold Cup. He goes to the King George. I think all systems go. And I think he could be the horse.
He does, yeah. I think Rachael's actually booked to ride him, but of course you'd have to say he's probably the one to beat on Gold Cup form. And Rachael, I think she's 100% certain to ride him. But Clan de Bozo, he's looked incredible around Kempton, hasn't he? And he's very hard to oppose. I can't help thinking that Manila Indo obviously will run an awful lot better than he did in Down Royal.
Yeah, don't worry about that run.
No, not worried in the slightest about it. But still in all, you definitely have to have that little niggle in your head and taking on the specialist around Kempton. It's a specialist track, I think, and it's all new to Manilando, whereas your man knows the place like the back of his hand. So.
Yeah, it is. It's very easy for her.
Targets that race every year, and has done. And he has always his top horses in peak condition for St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day, as they call it over there. And he's not concerned about next March, whereas the Bromhead is probably thinking the road he's planning that road to March.
Nah, that's a very good point. Like Clan de Bodo's Gold Cup is the King George.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And so Frodon last year, they'll be as like you can see Frodon the way he was as a fiddle there in Down Royal.
Yeah.
And they're 3 mile horses, so they're not the 3 mile 2. So like for Manila to be at his best needs the 3 mile 2 and the uphill finish in Cheltenham was there to get the best out of him. Whereas Nichols is thinking, right, here's the big pot.
Every day is their Gold Cup pretty much.
Yeah, but especially the King George. Like when you're a young Brit, I'm sure that you're looking at that before you're looking at a Gold Cup, and then you're thinking your mindset is completely different, like the Irish haven't had much luck in the King George down through the years, they don't they'll wait for the Savills Chase.
Who was the last winner of it? Kicking King, no?
Last Irish winner of the King George, is it?
Kicking King, was it?
Yeah, you could be right.
Florida Pearl and
Don Cassack would have won it one year, wouldn't he?
Oh, Don Cassack fell. Yeah, well, the fractions in the closing stages, he probably would have. I'll just say one thing, lads, about Manila Indo. However, he will be ready for this race because there is a gap to Cheltenham, so he's going to be ready. Like he'll be spot on.
Like he probably is the one to beat. But
Yeah, look, I think so, and especially if Rachael Blackmore goes over, rides it, it'll probably go off then the favourite on the day. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I feel, I tell you, is there anything else lurking at a big price that might?
But the Bromhead has to split them up. He has so many good horses in the yard now, you see. Like a few years ago, the Bromhead couldn't pick and choose. He just had to send them wherever was the big pot at home. But now he has to split them up.
Yeah, it's very easy for him to split them up, though. It's very easy for him to split them type horses up because a Plotard has to go left-handed. So a right-handed track is no good to him. So, but the horse that interests me is that horse that fell against Allaho. What do you call him? Asterian Forlange. Now I know he's a bit of a head case.
Right-handed, yeah. Right-handed.
But he has some engine bias. Like he was coming there at a half speed against German, and just as a bit of I don't know how much of an outsider he is now, but he's a horse that if he gets it all together, you never know what he's capable of. And he hasn't really shown that.
He's a very, very good horse. There's no doubt about it. The engine is there and right-handed. If ever a race is made for a horse, well, maybe the King George is made for Asterian Forlange. If he well, as far as the track goes, yes. The 3 mile, what's your idea on that? Can he stay?
This is it, you don't know, do you?
No, but he looked to be doing a half speed over Allaho the last day, and not surprising because he was always thought to be very good. Look, he's obviously going to definitely probably go here because it's really his only best option at Christmas, and then you have Fairy House and Punchestown in the spring. But I hope they don't waste their time with him running him left-handed in Cheltenham. I think I thought he'd be a sure winner in one of the races in Fairy House next year.
Yeah. He needs to go right-handed, isn't it?
I think so. He's a nice horse. Anyway, any young stars of the futures? Seen a couple of bumper horses doing well the other day. Tim O'Driscoll had a really nice mare the other day. You see her winning, won by 6 or 7.
Yeah, I saw her winning. She won very.
Soldier of Fortune mare. What did you think of that performance?
She's done it very easy. She got a score at 33-1 for the champion bumper straight after, which I don't know. But the favourite for the champion bumper runs this weekend in Navan, American Mike.
Yeah.
Gordon Elliott. Gordon reckons he's on a par with Don Cossack at this stage of his career, and you know how good he turned out to be. So if Gordon is saying things like that, sure he must be he must be very good. Kind of a.
Right, enough about miles away. Let's jump. So, Mickey D, I'm going to come to you. The long walk hurdle in Ascot Saturday. Let's give it an old mention because it deserves it. Heading the betting, I'm not too sure, but I think there's 10 runners. Buzz is short. Buzz is the favourite.
Buzz is about 7-4 favourite, and Time Hill is about 5-2.
Time Hill is 5-2. Right. Well, what I'm going to mention, I don't know if they're running. I haven't looked at the final decks. We're recording this on Wednesday, so I'm sure the decks are tomorrow. But I'm going to give a quick mention to a horse that might outrun his odds if he shows up. Third Wind, trained by Hughie Morrison. He'd be a 25-1 shot. And I know he blew out the last day, but before that, he looked progressive in beating. I think it was Lisnagar Oscar and Haydock. He really had a set two with him the whole way up the straight. And I think that 25-1, he's a horse that might be interesting on Saturday.
He looked to be a promising upcoming horse a couple of years ago, but he never fulfilled that promise. And it's a horse that I've followed. I know the horse. He doesn't seem to have progressed the way he should have. So maybe.
Well, his second last run was a career best.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
he beat a world hurdle winner in his second.
You think Hughie Morrison thought highly of him, but I think Hughie wasn't that hot last winter, was he? He hadn't that many winners over the jumps. But Time Hill, you see. A lot of them were saying, didn't he run in France the last time, you see, and that he didn't do the business.
He didn't look happy at all.
No, but like them all over there, and them French, like, who likes the French? Escargots and whatever, They might like the atmosphere. He's the one I think that, like, Buzz is the upcoming stayer, all right, but you'd have to go with sort of Time Hill, he's a tough nut. This time last year, he was favourite for the World Hurdle, so I nearly have to go with him.
Yeah, he looks a classy horse. In France, the last day, he was just not happy. The track didn't suit him, the fences didn't suit him, nothing suited him. So if you're willing to just draw a line through the run, which is fair enough, you can. He's a very good horse. Buzz Mickey, he is the up and comer, but we don't know if he'll stay yet.
But that's the thing, you see. I see Paisley Park is they're running it as well, but they're running out of excuses sort of there. Like, he doesn't. He's
such a great horse.
Yeah.
Low value. What did you think of Paisley? Can he get it back together? Unlikely now. After
Jesus, you'd want to be fierce for giving him.
Was.
Great horse he was. Let me down for a massive touch the year he got beat at odds on. I done an anti-post bet and the stairs hurdle. He let me down for colossal money, but I've since kind of recovered from that. But look, it's very hard to forgive him what he was at there in Newbury. He didn't want to jump off at the very, very start. And look, I think the stairs hurdle is maybe crying out for something to grab it by the bollocks and just say, listen, I'm the new kid on the block. And that could be Buzz. You're talking about a horse that might stay or might not stay. Like he won a Cesarewitch. What's that over? 2 mile 2 or something on the flat? Or 2 mile on the flat?
No, I think it's over.
He didn't seem to be stopping last time when he won at Ascot, and Nico was interviewed after the race, and they said, well, Nico, what do you think of that? Oh, this horse is, he's definitely my ride for the stairs hurdle. All he does is stay, he said. He does is stay.
Well, we'll find out Saturday.
Look, I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bet 64, 74, whatever he is for Saturday.
He's definitely very progressive anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
Interesting enough. Look, I'm just going to give an each way shout to Third Wind. It's a race, to be honest. I wouldn't be going crazy. And you can see reasons why Time Hill could murder them, how Buzz might be the next day.
It's probably a race that you learn.
Yeah, you learn a lot more. So it's not something to be rushing into. I'm sure Mickey will dig you out something in the handicaps. There are 20s or 16s to get a few bob on. Anything lurking the weekend, lads? Anything there that the viewers of our brand new podcast might want to look out for?
If I can just mention my old horse in the Ladbroke hurdle, I think it was. It used to be called the Ladbroke hurdle. I'm not sure what it's called now. The big handicap hurdle there at Ascot. No Ordinary Joe. I tipped him up to win the Greatwood, and I don't think things went really well for him. He just pulled like a train early on. Nico couldn't get him to settle. It was kind of gone halfway before he could get a hold of him. And he did keep going, I thought, fairly well for a horse that pulled so hard and done so much wrong. I think if they can just get him to settle down a bit and use that undoubted talent that he has, I think you could see a really, really strong performance.
Yeah, he definitely ran a little bit free early to head out, the nose down and the out. But he's definitely a horse, I'd say, of considerable ability. Mickey D, anything lurking, or have you got that far yet?
I had one in the back of my head, and I just cannot keep talking. I might come to it.
Joe, put him in the wheelbarrow and tip him upside down. It might come to him.
Would be the first time we do something like that with the wheelbarrow.
That horse that won yesterday for Ruth Jefferson in Prince, well, I think that could be a Boodle's horse.
Oh, geez, well done. I must say it won very well yesterday. That's the 3-year-old handicap, is it, in Cheltenham?
Yeah. That reminded me of Goshen, the way it went out in front yesterday. It was it's the only way to do it. When it ran in down Royal, they had it in at the back and just fighting for his head the whole way. When they let it out in front yesterday, it jumped brilliant. It won't be a trying hurdle horse, but it could be a Boodle.
He travelled well. I'll tell you a horse just when we're on that race. Sorry, no, Joe, for cutting it. Just when we're on the booties. You know, a horse that caught my eye the other day that might be a horse for that race is Sonning. He ran in Plumpton, and the minute I watched him, he was a little keen, and the jockey just let him go far, far too soon. I really think if they take their time now, they have a mark now after that. If they leave him now and showed up in the Boodles, he will be some player in it, I'm telling you.
The ideal, wouldn't it? The ideal race. You're spot on. I remember he won a Catrick and he pulled like absolute stink all the way around and kept galloping. Like he's a lot of ability. You're spot on. He was a good horse on the flat.
He ran against a couple of novice hurdlers, 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds the other day. But I just thought through that race, everywhere he was the best horse. Unfortunately, I understand Heskin's decision to go on. He's just pulling everywhere, and unfortunately horses start dropping away, and then you just end up there. But I think in a strongly run race at Cheltenham, off the current mark he'll probably get now, he would be an absolute player in it.
Yeah, and it's suit him, it'll go a million. They always go a million
Yeah,
over in
they go a
Cheltenham anyway,
million.
and he'll just.
And he jumps a bit careful, but he's safe and good. But the engine is there every time he lands over a hurdle. The engine is there. But your lads, unless there's anything else now you'd like to bash the bookies with, well, I think we'll keep episode 2 short and sweet. And
Yeah.
move
Just
on.
interesting tomorrow, I suppose. First race tomorrow at Ascot, or John Bonnet running, so it'll be interesting to see how, if you're on a anti-post, he'll need to put up his big performance, because that Constitution Hill is obviously after putting his stamp on things, and also I Am Maximus just dollied up there in the second race.
He won well, still very green.
Still very, very green. So, like, Nicky seems to have a massive hand in the novice hurdles division this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he definitely does.
Does.
Right, lads.
I race tomorrow. There's Lorna Fowler is sending over that Irish horse. It'll be a good guide to see how the form stacks up either side of the sea.
What's it called? Say it again. The name of it?
Pancake. One in Galway.
Conor O'Rourke. Yeah, I remember the day. It was 10 to 11 favourite that day. It won well.
My mind is blank today.
Mickey is gone. We're all gone. We're flabbergasted. That's what happens when you tip horses 7 days a week, lads. It's not easy. You end up losing your marbles. You lose your money and your marbles.
Look at all this for stuff here.
Right, listen, we're all a little off today, but who cares? We always work hard. We find winners. This week alone, God knows how many winners in the last fortnight has been tipped between the channel and the service. So well done, everyone. Anyway, lads, we're going to wrap this up. Make sure and vote for Rachael Blackmore in the sports Star of the Year awards if you can. I don't think we can in Ireland, but make sure all the followers do in England. It's absolutely phenomenal that someone in horse racing has even been in the lineup for it, or the nominees, as they say. Joe Value, final word to you.
Just best luck to everyone the weekend. Bet safe and enjoy the sport.
Mickey D, have the wheelbarrow ready and the wheels pumped, because we're cleaning them tomorrow. Right, good luck, boys.
Good luck.